Before we dive in, make sure to hit that subscribe button. It helps the channel more than you know. The Community Talent Show was one of those events our town circled on the calendar every year. The kind of cozy all-American night where neighbors gathered under twinkling lights, kids darted around with popcorn buckets, and couples laughed like life hadn't grown complicated yet. My wife, Emily, had been buzzing with excitement for weeks. She kept teasing that she planned something special, something that would really surprise people. I figured she meant a sweet little song or a funny skit. I had no clue she was setting the stage for something that wasn't entertainment at all. It was a setup. I sat in the front row, grinning proudly while she waited backstage. My chest felt full that night, completely unaware it was about to be crushed piece by piece. When Emily finally stepped onto the stage, wearing that sparkly blue top and the confident smile everyone in town adored, the whole room broke into applause. She had always been magnetic, one of those people who brighten a room just by walking in. She grabbed the mic and announced she wanted to do impressions of people she knew. The crowd laughed, totally into it. I clapped the loudest, having no idea I was about to become the punchline of the night. She started off light, coworkers, neighbors, all harmless and silly. People laughed and clapped. Then she stopped. Her eyes drifted across the room until they landed on me. Her smile shifted, playful, but with an edge I didn't recognize. "And now," she said, gripping the mic with both hands, "my favorite impression of all, my husband." My heart warmed for a second. I expected something sweet, maybe a cute inside joke. I smiled at her like an idiot, and she smiled back like someone standing over a fuse about to burn out. Emily hunched her shoulders, opened her eyes wide, and before anyone could guess where she was going, she dropped her voice into a slow, exaggerated, almost childish tone. Sorry guys, I don't know how to do anything right." The crowd erupted. People actually slapped their knees. I froze. Was she serious? I waited for her to pivot, to turn it into something lighthearted. But she didn't. She kept going. "I'm always messing everything up," she continued, dragging the words out in that goofy voice. "Please don't be mad at me." The laughter got louder, echoing to the hall, bouncing painfully around inside my chest. I tried to tell myself I was reading too much into it. Maybe she didn't mean it like that. Maybe I was being sensitive. But then I caught it, the smirk, the tiny, satisfied curl of her lip that told me she knew exactly what she was doing. She knew the exact insecurities she was poking at, and she wasn't stopping. She went on mocking the way I handled tools around the house, pretending to drop things, fumble, and break stuff. She stumbled across the stage acting clueless, and the audience howled. Someone yelled, "Oh my God, that's spot on." A group of teenagers repeated her exaggerated voice. My ears rang, my face burned, and all I could think was, so this is how she talks about me behind closed doors. But the worst part wasn't even her performance. It was everyone's reaction. Neighbors who had always greeted me kindly now stared at me with amused smirks, seeing me through her version of me. A couple whispered behind me. Even people who barely knew us laughed. Something inside me cracked. Thin, fragile glass under too much weight. Emily kept going, throwing in impressions of things I'd told her during vulnerable moments. Little confessions she once promised she'd never use against me. "Honey, can you help me with this?" she whined into the mic, pretending to beg. The room exploded with laughter again while I just sat there staring at her, heart pounding, realizing this wasn't a joke gone wrong. This was the truth, slipping out in front of everyone. By the time she wrapped up, the room was clapping wildly. Some people were wiping tears of laughter. Emily gave a dramatic bow, beaming like she'd just won an award. Meanwhile, I sat there frozen, numb, feeling something inside me shutting down. It wasn't just embarrassment. It was betrayal. When she came back to sit beside me, she tapped my shoulder and said casually, "Come on, babe." Smile. It was just a joke. But there was no warmth in her voice, no softness, no concern, just annoyance. Annoyance that I wasn't laughing at my own humiliation like everyone else. I searched her eyes for any hint of regret, but the same proud, sharp expression she wore on stage was still there. I tried to speak, but nothing came out. She leaned closer and whispered sharply, "Don't make a scene. Everyone thought it was funny. Don't ruin the night." I looked around. People gave me awkward little smiles. Some avoided looking at me altogether. The hall suddenly felt tight and suffocating. So I stood up, quiet, slow. Emily grabbed my wrist. "Where are you going?" Her voice shook for the first time. Maybe she finally realized she had actually crossed a line, but it was too late. "Home," I said, just one simple word, but it hit her like a punch. Her face fell. As I moved toward the door, the conversations around us died off. Some people looked guilty. Maybe they finally understood that this wasn't funny to me. Maybe they realized how painful it must have been. I didn't blame them. They didn't know my private struggles. But Emily did, and she still chose to turn them into comedy. She hurried after me, calling my name softly, careful not to draw attention. Even after publicly humiliating me, her image still mattered more than my feelings. Near the exit, she whispered, "Please don't leave. People are watching." Her voice cracked. But I wasn't leaving because of people. I was leaving because something inside me had snapped cleanly, and I knew nothing between us would ever go back to the way it was. I looked at her and said, "You didn't joke about me tonight. You showed everyone how you really see me." Her eyes filled with panic. But I stepped back, away from her. Outside, the air hit me cold and honest. Behind me, the hall glowed with lights and laughter, but none of it felt real anymore. As I walked away from that building, from the applause from her, from the version of myself she dragged into the spotlight, something painful but freeing settled in my chest. Sometimes the moment someone tries to shrink you is the moment you finally recognize your own worth.